Unisa is admitting to serious governance and operational problems, but stopping short of saying the university is far from collapse. It all comes after this damning report from an independent assessor. Now, to remind you what they found, it says the university is dysfunctional and is also recommending it be placed under administration. So that's what is really going on the ground. Let's find out what it's like for staff at the campuses at the University of South Africa. I'm joined by a lecturer at the university. It's Mametlwe Sebei joining us this morning. Mametlwe, good morning to you. I appreciate your time. Is it that bad to work at Unisa? Is it that dysfunctional? Good morning.
Well, there are challenges, Gareth. I mean, the reality is that, the problems that students have been communicating on social media, problems relating to administration, problem relating to registration, problem relating to assessment, and all of that, as well as, of course, historic problems relating to governance and all of that. Those challenges are real, and those challenges have been there in Unisa for some time. But I think the report of the independent assessor violates a sense of proportion, and I think it also doesn't tell us what is the current state in terms of where we are and in what direction are we headed. And the reality is, every indication are that lots of things are improving, both in terms of financial viability of the university, in terms of internal governance issues, but also in terms of quality assurances for teaching and research. There has been improvement, and all the ratings of the university are testament to that.
How difficult is it for you to do any kind of lecturing, though? When you say students have been complaining and there have been concerns raised on social media, give me an example. And would you agree with what students are saying? It does make learning tricky, doesn't it?
Look, I mean, there are a number of administrative problems, like, information, or, the problems with marking, people not always receiving things online on time, things like that. But I think what has happened is that university management has really done a lot in terms of improving the quality of learning and teaching. I mean, one of the things that you will see, which has been pointed out in university response, is that, Unisa staff has now been given one of the important tools of trade in terms of, laptop scheme that has been rolled out that not only saved university hundreds of millions when it was going through a supply chain management, but actually it means that teachers now have laptops, they are able to conduct research, they are able to conduct their teaching remotely. And I think that has improved, a lot of things.
Well, certainly the laptop, having access to a laptop, Mametlwe, certainly has, but the quality of the lecturers, respectfully, on those lectures, despite having a laptop, the quality of the lecturers is also something to be improved as well. I see lots of pupils complaining that they can't understand what lecturers are saying. It takes up to 45 minutes for a lecturer to, understand the technology. They can't get their screen to work, their audio to work. I'm talking from a student's perspective now. It's very difficult to try and understand what some lecturers are doing. They've got the laptop, doesn't mean they know how to use it properly.
Well, I think those are issues relating to training. I mean, since I got to university, there has been a number of opportunities offered for lecturers to receive training. I think there's a room for improvement of that. You would appreciate the fact that university has just moved to online learning. People are working remotely, and I think that's going to always have challenges of its own. But I think when you look at the ratings of the university, right, both by Council of Higher Education, it is clear that university has improved a lot of things. It received 10 out of 16 commendations on 10 out of 16 standards, but also in terms of the research output, in terms also of world rankings, the Times Higher Education World Rankings report. Please, University of South Africa, at number 7, it has doubled its teaching score from 18.4% in 2016 to 30.4%. Its research score from 11.3 in 2016 to 20.5. But also I'm saying every other indications are that Musia's independent assessment report is not being entirely honest in terms of the efforts that have been made in improving the quality of learning, the quality of research, but also the quality assurances for qualifications that Unisa is offering. And I think that is what is missing from that report, as well as the fact that universities' position has been improving financially, and is those financial resources that are going to be plowed in the quality of learning. I mean, university just last year, 2021, it has improved its position by 2.3 billion rand. It has increased its financial reserves by almost 6 to 7 billion rand in a space of 2 years. By doing what? By dismantling corrupt networks that have captured university supply chain management, by insourcing a lot of services. And those billions of rands are going to be further plowed into improving administrative systems, into improving issues of institutional governances, but also into improving quality of research, but also quality of teaching for the students. And I think if management continue on this route, we ought to see improvements in years to come.
So do you have the opinion then, Mametlwe, that the assessor in this case, the independent assessor, has got this wrong? And if so, why do you think it is so off the mark? What's at play here, do you think?
You see, what assessor did, right? He used the historical legacy issues that are said are genuine problems at Unisa to basically confuse issues, but most importantly to advocate for the taking over of the university, notwithstanding that his academic program is intact, his quality assurances are intact, and by his own admission, the financial position of the university has improved quite dramatically, right? And the reason for that is that, there has been a fight back against this new management, particularly when it comes to, entrepreneurial interest that, have hijacked not only Unisa, but also a lot of public services in this country. The billions that have been saved against the background of cancellation of contract on laptop schemes, cancellation of car fleet, but also number of tenders that would have costed university hundreds of millions of rands. And there has been a fight back. There has been a fight back from these interests. These interests also have social basis of support within the university, among some academics, among some administrators, and people within supply chain management. And it is in the context of the struggle that Musia has not been able to allocate the responsibility in terms of who has been responsible for mismanagement of university resources, is clouding issues. And I've pointed out in my op-ed that is because himself is conflicted. I've pointed out the fact that he has a relationship with the now suspended registrar of the university, and I think he has not disclosed that both at his appointment, but also at the time of making report, because the problems, the scandals that have been highlighted around housing, those scandals, the VC protested them as far back as 2021 in July, right, in June. None of that is coming out of Musia's report.
Let me ask you very, very briefly, Mametlwe, I need to say goodbye to you. I need to just clarify something. You're saying that it's the relationship of Musia with the Unisa registrar. Just explain, what is that relationship? What's your understanding of that very briefly? I need to try and understand what you're suggesting here.
You see, if you look at the airport, the op-ed that I wrote, right, I show you. Musia and Mutata have a relationship going back to his appointment. That is Mutata's appointment at Unisa, at TUT, by Prof. Musia, who was the administrator there. And even there, this figure actually conducted a campaign against the then female VC of the TUT, Professor Ntabiseng Ugude. And in that instance, from the media report that I've also cited in my report, it is clear that Mutata Musia intervened at the behest of the then registrar of the TUT, who is now suspended, who is now suspended registrar of Unisa, and these are conflicts that have also, should have been disclosed. But most importantly, this is an individual that has been, central to the fight within the management, and lack of cohesion within the executive management. At the very minimum, Musia on dealing with the issues of procurement, for which this person was responsible, for which the principal, the VC of the university, demanded accountability for massive inflation of prices at the VC house and the refurbishment thereof, right? That at a very minimum, Musia was supposed to say, this is a person that I have a relationship with. This is a person in relation to whom I'm unable to objectively and impartially comment, because there the responsibility lies with this person, and instead we say confuse the issues. So is this lack of impartiality, but also a failure and unethical conduct on his part that has clouded and has brought issues of credibility on that report?
I appreciate your time. That's why I just wanted to make sure I understood you correctly, Mametlwe, about this relationship. Because it's one thing to just throw the word relationship out there in an interview, but I wanted to give you time to explain what that was, and I'm glad I did. And I appreciate your time this morning from Unisa, Mametlwe Sebei from the university. He's a lecturer in the Department of Jurisprudence. So yes, it's not exactly falling apart at Unisa. There are governance issues. There is this report in place. It's not fallen through the floor as yet, but it's certainly not where it should be as far as a university is concerned. All right.